The year's final Minecraft update has a release date, and it might just be on your birthday if you were born December 9th, because that's when you can expect the amounts of mayhem for all platforms. We have some big questions about how the balancing for the spear was done, as well as about the key art, which if we show it to you now, looks incredibly village and pillage-esque, but also notably features a desert very clearly. This is interesting because the desert is a biome Mojang said they would update all the way back in 2018, and this might actually be that coming to fruition. Let's talk about how, why, and what that is, because this is Q&A Saturday, and hello, I'm ABXToyCat, and you can subscribe, by the way, if you want to see more of these videos. But let's start with the fun news, because obviously the Mounts of Mayhem drop is now finished, and if, like, the last reality is at hand, you want them to add just a little bit more, the sad news is that the update is finished and locked in place, and so if you were looking for more fundamental changes, then you won't get it, unless you agree with Frank9966, who says he doesn't really agree that the drops aren't changing up the game, because spears fundamentally are going to be a new playstyle in Minecraft for combat. Prioritizing distance/avoiding fights over raw DPS is a legitimate trade that will constantly be in effect for every fight. This is something I really hope is true, and it's something that gets me excited, but something that we should move on to is the idea of the desert update, because you might be saying, Toycat, I mean, I looked at the image and it's mostly focused on mounts and spears, but surely not deserts, and even not Naxolotl says this is not a year of desert or arid biome updates, because you should have voted for the savannah, which is very true, by the way. In 2018, we made a big mistake, and you can see that from the results. But yeah, the idea is that Mojang actually has been making a lot of desert updates this year. You might not realize until you see them all listed out, but they gave us the cactus flowers, they gave us the tall grass in the deserts, they gave us desert or hot biome exclusive versions of mobs, and then we've just seen them now come back for the husk camel as well as the parched. That's 2 brand new desert mobs, that is 3 brand new desert decorative blocks, and that is a ridiculous number of mob variants for the desert. The desert got a huge update this year, but you might say, well, obviously it's a desert update, but why would you say it's the desert update from the biome vote of 2018? And I would say that sure, when Mojang pitched us 3 ideas back in 2018, the desert was going to be palm trees, meerkats, and oases. This is a really interesting idea for some, although only 15%, but I would say that clearly Mojang wanted to update the desert, and in 2018, they got a clear sign of approval from the community that they would love a tiger biome update, they might like a savanna update, but they would absolutely not be interested in the desert update as they were going to do it, which is why we've seen over the last few years them change the desert wells to make them a bit more fun, them add a bit more archaeology to the desert temple, and now why we're seeing them focus on the desert so much. We didn't vote for the desert update they pitched us in 2018, and so I think instead we've been getting a desert update slowly via the drops ever since, and actually I think that's kind of a good thing. I think that if a mob vote loses by such a dramatic amount, if it is by far the 3rd place option, that is the biggest sign from the community that they actively didn't want it, or rather would prefer other things. And honestly, if you were to pitch me right now and say, hey, what would you rather have, Toycat? Would you rather have palm trees and meerkats, or would you rather have all of the things we've gotten this year? I would definitely say the things we've gotten this year, especially if we talk about oases, by the way. Water in the middle of a desert? I mean, we've already got that with the desert well, which is such a useful and great structure. Why would we take away its one and only valuable function? I mean, obviously now it's good for archaeology, which brings in the point, deserts have had a huge update this year, and honestly, it's pretty cool. I would even say it's pretty lit, agreeing with Duckman's poorly written comment there. But speaking about things that were poorly written from earlier, let's go into this next idea from Old Guy Wilker. I'm sorry, Mr. Old Guy, who says he's he has yet to update his game since the scare of Bedrock deleting world started. Is it safe to do so yet? So here is the thing, you should be right to be scared of updating your game, largely because of the fact that you can never undo it. Now, even once you've got to the point of connecting to your internet, you can't undo it on the Bedrock version. And but the good news is, if you have a Bedrock version of Minecraft, even on the PC, you should update your game if the update option is available. But when you first start up the game, or I would turn down all my settings to make sure it doesn't crash. When you start up the game, don't do anything until the importing is finished. So leave the game running for 30 minutes if you want to be safe. But also, before you do any update, including this brand new Village and Pillage V2, as I will call it for now, if you're going to update any Minecraft update, back up your worlds first, ideally on a different storage device, so that way if there's some crisis, you can pull it out there. Make sure that if you care about a Minecraft world, it is backed up safely and fully, but if you do that, then you should be fine to update even a risky one like 1.20, 1.120. So speaking of things like that, Themuels actually says, wait, for anyone who doesn't want to deal with Minecraft updates, just use some sort of version switcher. It'll make your life so much easier, trust me, and you should trust them in this case. But I want to be very clear, in the case of version switches, these have actually been broken since 1.21.120. It's very low on the list of priorities. Again, I wanted to be clear in my Bedrock is broken video. There are 7 critical concerns, but there's a lot of minor concerns. Things like not being able to import worlds. And the other one is that every version switcher out there is broken, but Smokey Stack has good news, which is the fact that from Lucas PAH, they've actually discovered what the numbers in the user folders mean on Bedrock, and so now we are a step closer to bringing back version switches for Bedrock on the PC version. If you play on any other platform, whatever Microsoft gives you is what you have to take, which is a bit of a downside, but again, why it's important to have those backups. Speaking of backups that are important to have, hey Toy Cat, wasn't there supposed to be an update coming out on Tuesday for your Let's Play World? I haven't been able to get that yet. Well, yes, it was actually meant to be coming out on the 11th of the 11th, and then we delayed it 2 weeks, but interestingly, it is delayed even further, and this is because of certification issues. Interestingly, the exact same thing that the Mounts of Mayhem drop is currently going through is what the Let's Play World has to go through every single time we want to release it, and it seems as though because the world is so large, it has given them some issues, and so even though the world was saved in September, it's still not out, and it will likely be in December. It takes a long time, but I'm committed to doing this for Let's Play World because I think that it is a living, breathing world, and it's cool to have updates, so look forward to 1.7.0, I think it's going to be called, coming out fairly soon in the future-ish as soon as certification is done. Speaking of certification and other processes, did you know that's exactly what Hytale is going through right now, outside of the getting the game working and not buggy? One of the interesting things that Simon cites as being a delay behind it is getting all of the legal documentation required for a game to run. I thought this was hugely interesting by itself, and I also think it's interesting that the top comment is thankfully sane on that video, which says that people just need to stop having a whole fandom war over these games. Both can exist. I can't tell you how much I've been absolutely screamed at and flamed at, like, Toy Cat, don't you understand? Hytale is gonna be the best game. It's gonna be so much better than everything else, and any negative opinions cannot be tolerated because they try to destroy the game from inside. They are only coming from Minecraft fanboys. And actually, I think that that's kind of silly because actually, I think that both games can and should coexist, and hopefully we get to a world where there's 2 good games. I think there is some healthy competition that can develop because there is some overlap between the player base, maybe if we're generous, 15 or 20%, but I do think that a lot of people believe that you have to like one game and therefore dislike the other, and it's like you're just being ridiculous with that. However, one of my critiques of Hytale, and one of the reasons why I'm less excited than I was before, was because it's going out in the self-admittedly very buggy state, and Brian Luo kind of changed my mind here because they said, unfortunately people didn't upvote this, but it's not like No Man's Sky. We know what we're going in to expect. If you expect a polished game, that's on you, and actually I think that that is fair, that if you are releasing a buggy game, I still don't like it. I think that polish is a good thing and can be appreciated, but as long as you tell people, look, yeah, this is a V0.1, this is going to be buggy, and that's what you're paying for, the game will hopefully be good later, then that is fair. But if you go in thinking, yes, I am buying something on the ground floor and it will definitely be perfect within 6 months, or maybe even perfect immediately, that's where I feel like you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And I know that sometimes it like hurts to be the person to break a certain degree of hype, and it hurts to be the person who's the voice of reason, but I think that that still is an important thing to have, even if there is now a large percentage of Hytale fans out there who hate me for saying, wait, why aren't you saying this is perfect all the time? Because what I actually believe is what Exode7414 says, which is I think 2026 is going to change for Mojang because of Hytale will probably get really good updates next year. Okay, actually, I think they're going a bit far with this, but their idea is fairly simple that, yeah, actually, if you have healthy competition and you have more games in the same market, then you get more sources of ideas. There are all sorts of ideas that some video game companies will never consider until their competitors do it, and then it becomes crazy. Think about Battle Royale. Like, a lot of games were thinking about a Battle Royale, but it was only PUBG that was doing it for a long time, until all of a sudden you see Fortnite drop on the scene, and everyone's thinking, wow, we could have our game become a hit success if we do Battle Royale. That is something that seeing other games succeed at is a good thing for. Seeing different ideas succeed and propagate, and seeing bad ideas fail is something that is really important in any creative space, and I'm glad that we're seeing that in the Minecraft one. Speaking of things we see in the Minecraft one, shut up, you are wrong, this is raw. You know what, Beep Boop apparently thinks that my comment is rage bait, but apparently is very upset about rage bait. Ultra Superbox says, okay, that's not the right comment either, but the right comment does come in from VibeCheck4588. Thank you for vibe checking these last comments. I love that I found you again. I used to watch you as a kid and really liked your content. Life hasn't been amazing since then, and I've admittedly been chasing nostalgia a bit too much, but I figured I'd start Minecraft again. The video is lovely, and you are lovely. Thank you for still creating. Honestly, even though I'm sure there's some sad stuff in there we should be addressing. I'd like to just say thank you for anyone who has been enjoying the Let's Plays. I really did just start them up with the idea of like, let's do these in the old style of Let's Plays that you just don't see that type of content on YouTube very much anymore. And now, especially with the members Let's Play, we kind of get to do double as much of it in a week as we ever used to. I am really enjoying the kind of Let's Play era we're temporarily going on, and I am glad that there are some of you out there who are enjoying watching it. Your love is something that inspires me to continue doing something. Speaking of love and continuing, did you know that the release date that we predicted in our Mounts of Mayhem prediction video actually turned out to be correct? And Patako Fake P7L says that's even more proof that Toycat works for Mojang, which I just thought was silly, but I did think it was fun that I got this comment saying, you know, clearly what's going to happen next is, you know, you're going to start predicting the next update after the Mounts of Mayhem. And Rob Torface HED, honestly, the truth is we have a pretty good idea of when it's coming out already. It's going to start its betas and previews on Tuesday, super soon, but also we know that it's probably coming out in March of next year, as most of the drops have done so. So right now, Tuesday the 31st of March 2026, no one, probably not even most Mojang employees, know what's going to be in the drop, but we do know it's probably coming out in March 2026 on a Tuesday, so I look forward to seeing you there in 2020, and hopefully it'll be better because of Hightail. But speaking of things that'll be better, I got a lot of fun ideas of people saying what they want to do in their Let's Play, the survival worlds, because I've been making a few videos kind of promoting the Let's Play World update. Thankfully, Minecraft has been giving me more time by delaying the certification, but I got this really fun idea from Kolka Gaming, who says I'm going to craft a spear. Okay, that's actually something you can do after the update, but this also fun idea came from Art Block Insomniac, who says I'm making a color-coded flight path in the overworld so I can fly to and ask my different areas without getting lost. It's just multiple rings decorated in a pattern matching the location, but it's fun and will be different than just walking through my nether path. I love this idea of like flight paths through your world, using rings in the case of Endstone maybe, you know, having like different colors or different themes to these. This is a really cool way to make your world more accessible by flight, and it's an example of how you can do infrastructure in any way you love, but any way you like, but I love to see it. Or any way you love, but I like to see it. Speaking of things I like to see, RogCG1633 says, I want to try building a museum in my world with every single item in the game displayed. This is something I love to do in any challenge world, but I'm going to give you a tip here. It is a absolutely massive challenge to try and do something as big as every single block all at once, and if you try to do this, like I did in my original Superflat series from way back in the day, I think it can become overwhelming, but also kind of lost and aimless, and if you don't want a task to be too hard, my recommendation is break it into chunks. So right now, I need to get my bike, it's not massively heavy, but it is, I need to get my bike up this very big set of stairs, and it's like, you know what, rather than going up to the stairs, maybe I should just stay here at the bottom. But actually, it's far easier if I pick up my bike, just like this. See, not that heavy, but heavier than I'd like it to be. And I get to the first step, and then it's like, wow, I'm a third done. And I feel like breaking up any task makes it substantially easier, and it's what I recommend for anyone struggling with a big Minecraft task. Just split it into smaller ones, and genuinely have pride and accomplishment when you've done those. I've climbed 2/3 of these stairs, but still more has to be done. I take a moment, grab my bike from a better angle, and let's do. Oh no. But it's okay, I've come 2/3 of the way to the top. So even if I make a giant mistake here, it's fine. But here you can see, just like that, the third bit was the hardest, and maybe it would have discouraged me doing the entire thing, but I've done it. Your boy the Christmas elf has got his bike up a ridiculous number of stairs. It's probably like 30. But it's more than you want to ride up on a bike, isn't it? Anyway, with that said, hope you all enjoyed this week's Q&A Saturday. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, because I'll see you next time. This light doesn't have a crossing for me. When do I go? I guess I don't. Okay, see you around. Bye.